Hello, folks, and welcome to the Pool Deck Podcast. So this is the, third iteration of this podcast at this point. I've run it across a couple channels, tried to do my best with it, but basically this podcast started with me just talking about random things with a co-host on a pool deck, and we talked about anything and everything but the pool deck we were on and swimming. And so today we are coming back to the Pool Deck Podcast because I actually really enjoy it. We're going to be back to podcasting. We're going to be talking about some sports. There's a lot of big events going on in the sports world at the moment. We have the Tour de France going on, and we have the World Cup. Let's start with the Tour de France. So this Tour de France cycle, the focus again was obviously on Tadej Pogačar, who is shaping up to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest biker of all time, and Jonas Vingegaard, who is essentially his competition. He's the guy that's rising up to try to beat him. And in most sense, he's done a pretty good job. He has won 2 yellow jerseys at the Tour de France. My main focus in biking is the Tour de France. That is the main event that I enjoy watching. And he's won 2 yellow jerseys there, I believe. And the problem is Pogačar's won more. He's also won back-to-back, I believe, at this point. And so we're already in a couple stages. We're at our first rest stage already, and he's already 2 minutes ahead. So the question is the Tour de France boring, or is Tadej Pogačar just so far and above at this point that it just doesn't even matter what Jonas and the team does? Like, he will win anyway. But so here's my thoughts on that. So first of all, I prefer Jonas. I think that his story is so cool. I think that he does an incredible job biking and never giving up. And I think he's an incredible team player. And it's always fun to see the underdog, especially against someone like Tadej, who, I respect his ability as a biker to the highest extent. He is so insane. But I kind of want to see the underdog win in this case. And I think that it actually provides some really interesting showmanship. Some really interesting, I don't think the Tour de France is boring. I think this contest provides us for some really interesting showmanship. And so you've essentially got this battle between the underdog, who should not win. It has been shown on the past 2 years that Jonas, while as amazing as he is, probably cannot beat Tadej in a 1-to-1 at this point, or over a mountain stage. I think, though, that it's actually so cool because you don't know if Tadej goes on the attack. What if this is the time that Jonas finally catches him? What if this is the time that the Cinderella finally beats the Goliath, the monster, not the monster. That's a bad analogy. But I think that this provides a really interesting part to watch in the tour. And that's why I tune in, is because I'm like, will this be the day that Jonas can finally win, can finally take down Tadej? And I think in this tour, there is the potential that it could happen. I think that while Jumbo-Visma has gone through some changes since Jonas last won the yellow jersey, I think that he has got still an incredible chance to try to take it back and maybe even put some time into Tadej. He is about 2:30 behind at the moment. I think 2:42 is the exact number. But I still think that if they can get a good team strategy together and put together just a magnificent run, I think they can gain a minute on him starting now. And it may not, that's cutting, first of all, that's cutting the time 50% in half. And it may not seem like a lot, but there are so many stages in the Tour de France. And I know that Tadej also has an incredible team around him. Isaac Del Toro is just absolutely insane. What a rider, what a lead out that one day. I definitely think that he can come back and potentially put some time into him. And so is the Tour de France boring? Absolutely not. Even with Tadej's greatness, I think that is still an incredible sport to watch and an incredible just area to see who's going to win, the Cinderella, Jonas, or Tadej, the guy who is supposed to win at this point. And when I say this, I don't mean it in any disrespect to any other bike racers or to Jonas himself. Jonas is an incredible athlete. Don't get me wrong. He is insane. Tadej is just more insane. Tadej is like a Michael Phelps, except biking. It's crazy. But, yeah, so looking at the tour ahead, I do think that Tadej will win the yellow jersey again. He'll, I think, King of the Mountain as well. I don't think he'll win sprint, but I think Isaac Del Toro will probably win the white jersey for best young rider and potentially come in that second place maybe. I think Jonas and Isaac for second place in the King of the Mountain will be a good battle, and I do think that Jonas will win the second place yellow jersey. Would I like to see otherwise? Of course. But if you want to take anything out of this, there's a lot of people out there on the internet saying the Tour de France is boring. Toddy is too amazing. I don't think so. I think that this provides for something that's great. Watching Toddy attack and watching Jonas try to chase him and wondering, is this the time when we finally get it? I think provides great, just outstanding TV. I think that's awesome. The second thing going on right now is the World Cup. We are, of course, in the semifinals, and congratulations to the 4 teams that made it there. The top 4 teams, of course. It's a little bit disappointing. I did want the USA to get there, but, you do what you gotta do. But, excuse me. Okay, of course, we have France, Spain coming up tomorrow as of this recording, Tuesday at 2 p.m. I think that's going to be a great game. France, I think, has an incredibly balanced attack and defense from what I've seen and what I've read. They just seem almost unstoppable. But I think Spain has something on their side, and it's just like they're also great as well. I think of course, they have the top 4 teams, and I do to a certain extent think that these are the best 4 teams. I think you can maybe make an exception to Argentina. While they have played incredible, maybe haven't played quite up to expectation. They've let a lot of goals in, and they haven't faced the most difficult schedule yet. I think that Cape Verde was a great game, and I think that they were better than I think people thought they were. But I don't know if Argentina's going to... At this point, I am doubting whether Argentina will take it home again. Looking at the last 4 teams, I think that England will make it through that second semifinal. I think they definitely, by far and away, will beat Argentina. I just don't think that I think Argentina's going to let too many goals in potentially. Looking at what they did against Egypt, they needed that late comeback to make it happen. And I think that's something that England won't let happen. I just think that they're going to be able to hold on. And if they score 2 points, score 3 goals, then they will definitely take that away and win. However, I think it'd be interesting. And if Argentina does make it to the World Cup final, I do not think they would win that against Spain or France. Now, I do know they won 4 years ago, but it is a different world, and I just think that Argentina will not be winning the World Cup. I do think they deserve to be in the semifinal, absolutely, but I don't think they will be winning the World Cup this year. Looking at England, I think that England should be winning that game, and heading into the World Cup final, I think they have a great chance against France or Spain. Watching them play, Mexico, Norway. The Norway game was a game and a half. I do think that goal, just looking at it, it was a little suspicious, maybe a little something. I don't want to dive too deeply into it. I know there's a lot of controversy going on around there, but looking at it, it could have gone either way, and I think it probably maybe you would need a review to look at that. But it's a little disappointing on that end. I thought the Norway story was amazing. I think it would have been great for them to make it to the semifinals, where I think they definitely could have beaten Argentina, and you would have had Norway in the finale, which I think would have been very sick. But looking at the other semifinal, I think that this is definitely going to be the better of the semifinals, Spain versus France. I think that this is going to be a great match. You could see this going either way, of either really high scoring or really low scoring. I don't think either side, though, is going to completely pull away. I think they are both well-balanced, well-rounded teams that have a chance to really just go at each other and see who comes out on top. Hold on. Looking at it, I think I prefer Spain to win just because France is the favorite. No matter which one wins, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great watch. I can't wait to see how the Golden Boots shapes up, especially with Haaland, of course, is out at this point because he was close to goals with everyone, and now just with him not being able to play more games, I think that everyone will definitely be scoring just above and beyond. So looking at it, I think it's going to be some great battles going on, especially in that game. But definitely the preferred game. I think my dream match would be to see if I was looking at England, France would be cool because they have been rivals across history, even before soccer or football, because they didn't really like each other in the medieval times. And while that doesn't matter as much today, I think it would be just hilarious if those two met, and it would be, oh wow, you've got these ancient rivals meeting. But yeah, I think my dream match would be Spain-England, because I do think France would probably beat England. So I think Spain-England would be a great World Cup finale. And so there's that going on. But of course, we've also got, just different events going on. NBA, the MLB draft happened recently. Didn't look too much at that, but I think another interesting thing going on, we're going to be looking at the NBA world this time. We have Wembanyama. He turned down a contract. He's following the Jalen Brunson model, turning down some money so he can potentially build a better team for a future run. I think that NBA Finals, well, disappointing that it didn't take that long. I think it shows that the Spurs are going to be the dominant team of this generation, at least for the next 5 years. They will be the team to beat. I think that is what we can show from this. But yeah, well, this episode was a little bit shorter. If you enjoyed this edition of the Pool Deck Podcast, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and maybe commenting your thoughts on there. I prefer to make my episodes a little bit shorter, just a little bit quicker. Get some quick thoughts out there. And guess what? I will not be stopping at sports. We're going to be discussing so many different things. We've had some movies come out that maybe flopped. Potentially, the Odyssey's coming out. Moana came out and did in fact flop. The Odyssey is looking at a potential flop after looking at the trailer likes to dislikes. You've just got a lot going on in the world right now, so consider liking and subscribing. And thank you so much for watching.